Hey everyone, welcome into another Webinar Wednesday. We're so excited to have you here today to talk about Social Security disability for federal employees, which is why today I have brought in Caleb McKinley, one of our senior consultation specialists here, and Sophie Rost, one of our senior federal case managers. Now, they are both certified federal retirement consultants and they talk to federal employees just like you every day regarding their benefits. Now, before we get started, make sure to check out the bottom right-hand corner of your screen for a little chat box where you can type in all of your questions, and our team members that are here live right now will get to them as soon as possible. And a quick disclaimer, keep in mind that this presentation is provided for informational purposes only and does not constitute legal advice. And because of this, it does not establish an attorney-client relationship, as Harris Federal is only striving to educate federal employees on their benefits. Now, let's get started. Take it away, Caleb and Sophie.
Well, thank you, Elizabeth. My name is Caleb McKinley. I'm the Senior Consultation Specialist here with Harris Federal.
And I'm Sophie Rost. I'm a Senior Federal Disability Case Manager at Harris Federal.
And we're excited today to go through this webinar together and discuss more about Social Security disability for federal employees and how that impacts your benefits and what you might be able to qualify for. So today we'll discuss the main benefits of Social Security disability. We'll, of course, talk about how to apply for Social Security, whether in person or online. We'll discuss qualifying, some of the criteria for federal disability retirement, which is a separate benefit, but it has a lot of interactions with Social Security. We'll talk about disability retirement benefits there, the main benefits, and of course, understanding the offsets between Social Security versus disability retirement. And then we'll wrap it up by giving an example of a federal employee. So this might match your situation, but somebody who's qualifying for multiple different kinds of annuities and monthly benefits and how they can calculate and estimate how much they stand to gain from these. So starting out with just the basics of understanding Social Security disability insurance, there's, of course, disability payments. And now, Sophie, could you kind of walk us through what the basic information is and who might qualify for Social Security?
Absolutely. So Social Security, it's available to all U.S. workers who have paid into Social Security. It pays benefits to people who can't work due to a medical condition that is expected to last at least 1 year or result in death. In order to qualify, you must meet specific work history requirements and pay Social Security taxes on your regular earnings.
That's right. I think it's also important to note that the folks that qualify for this benefit are folks who cannot work, and that's considered to be a total disability. So that's one of the biggest key differences here. Whenever we start talking about other different types of disability benefits, that Social Security is considered to be a disability benefit. So again, you're not going to be able to work in any capacity for at least 1 year, and in some cases, these disabilities may result in the death of the employee. So that, again, it's getting a little bit more detailed on who's eligible. There's strict disability requirements. There's criteria for everybody. Whenever you submit your application, you must overcome this burden of proof. So, Sophie, what do you often see with cases of disability?
To receive disability benefits, a person must meet the definition of a disability under the Social Security Act. A person is disabled under the Act if they can't work due to a severe medical condition that has lasted or is expected to last at least 1 year or result in death. So that is where we do see some overlap with our clients and people who are applying for disability retirement because that is a similar criteria that they have.
That's right. And, a lot of the medical conditions and disabilities that we see for our clients are, mental health conditions. We see a lot of folks who've been diagnosed with PTSD and depression and anxiety and severe conditions mentally that incapacitate them and prevent them from working. But also, of course, the obvious physical medical conditions and disabilities, disabilities of herniated or bulging discs in their back or knee injuries, very traumatic head injuries, or even migraines that are severe. So again, there's a multitude of different medical disabilities that you might qualify with. So those medical conditions, though, it's important to understand, it prevents any applicant from adjusting to other types of work. So again, whenever you're speaking about disability and your eligibility for Social Security, it is a total type of disability.
There are also other Social Security disability benefits. This includes family benefits, medical coverage, or achieving a better life experience. Caleb, can you tell us a little bit more about these?
Sure. The medical coverage is included. So you'll automatically receive Medicare coverage after you've received disability benefits for a minimum of 2 years. That benefit, Medicare is going to kick in, and that coverage is going to continue there as long as you're eligible to receive your Social Security. As Sophie mentioned, you'll be eligible to receive an ABLE account, which is Achieving a Better Life Experience. It offers a tax advantage savings account for individuals with a disability. Of course, the savings account is very helpful, very, very beneficial for the long-term future. So for yourself and for your family, there's a lot of benefits that you can tap into that you can receive. It's a great form of security, a good stable foundation. And it does help you not just in the short-term future, but in the long-term future as well.
Thanks for that information, Caleb. So let's talk a little bit about how to apply for Social Security disability. You can apply online, over the telephone, or in person. To apply online, you can go to ssa.gov website and look under the Apply for Benefits section. Alternatively, you can apply by phone by calling 1-800-772-1213 or call your local office to set up an appointment. Third, you can also apply in person by just going to your local office and setting up an appointment.
Right, and regardless of the option that you choose to apply for Social Security benefits, the timing is very important. So you should apply or should consider applying as soon as you develop a disability, as an application process may take upwards of 3 to 6 months. So again, if you have a diagnosed disability from a doctor and they consider it to be a long-term disability, don't wait. As soon as you know that you're eligible for this benefit, take advantage of it and choose one of these options and apply.
So now that we've talked about how to apply, let's talk a little bit about the monthly benefit payment. Caleb, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure, and this is a question that I get asked a lot. Whenever we're talking about money and your disability income estimate. So, for Social Security benefits, the primary insurance amount is the sum of 3 separate percentages of the average indexed monthly earnings. So to kind of translate that down, this means that the amount that you receive from Social Security disability insurance, it's going to vary based on your history of earnings, how much you currently earn, and how long you've worked. So there's a lot that goes into it. So if you've been earning wages, if you've had a career and a long-term employment, there's going to be a lot of factors at play in calculating your earnings. So it's 3 separate percentages of your average indexed monthly earnings. That's your basic calculation for Social Security disability. And now one of the most common responses that folks receive whenever they apply for Social Security disability is, of course, a denial. And whenever you are denied by Social Security, don't panic. You have some options for appealing or responding to that decision. Of course, the obvious answer is to request a reconsideration appeal. So you're requesting a review of your claim within 60 days of your decision notice. So if you plan on requesting a reconsideration, do not wait. Don't miss that 60-day window for you to reply and give them your notice of reconsideration. Of course, there's a judge hearing. You can request an online hearing with an administrative law judge, and you'll present your case to that judge. You'll supply medical documentation and sufficient rationale to reverse that initial denial. And there's a couple other options that we sometimes will see. And Sophie, could you explain those for us?
Of course. You can also request a review by the Social Security Appeals Council online, or you can, if you're denied by the Appeals Council, you can request a federal court review where they'll take it up to the federal court and they will review your claim and determine if you meet the criteria. So to be eligible for Social Security disability benefits, a person must be unable to engage in substantial gainful activity. Caleb, can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure. And this is a question that I get asked a lot. And my basic response is, if you're planning on working in any capacity while being in receipt of Social Security disability, be prepared to show that you are making below their limit, which for non-blind individuals is $1,470 a month. For blind individuals, it's $2,460 a month. So your monthly income, it must be below that limit. Otherwise, you will be deemed financially recovered. And if you're sustainable financially, then Social Security will cut off your benefits. They'll cut off your monthly annuity and your medical benefits. So again, be mindful. If you plan to work in any capacity, then you have to be below this limit. But the amount it's assessed and adjusted annually. So this might change, and it has changed historically. So for cost of living, for inflation in the future, we might see this number go up incrementally, but still, it's a pretty substantial, pretty tight limit on your earnings if you do plan on taking any kind of part-time or side job in the private sector.
So some additional Social Security disability information. Like Caleb said, receiving Social Security disability will drastically limit your income potential and how much you can work. So if you are continuing to work but make under that income cap, you may be eligible to apply for the Social Security disability. If you're on workers' compensation, then there is no offset, but you can only receive up to 80% of your previous salary from both benefits combined. If you're on VA disability, you can receive 100% of both Social Security disability income and VA disability at the same time. There is no offset. So as a federal employee, if you are eligible for Social Security disability, you may also be eligible for the federal disability retirement.
If you're struggling with work due to an illness or injury, federal disability retirement is a benefit that allows you to retire early if you no longer can perform your work or perform an element of your job, and if that medical condition is also expected to persist for more than a year. So you can kind of see that there's some commonality, some similarity between Social Security disability and federal disability retirement, and you can, in fact, qualify for both.
If you apply for and are approved for federal disability retirement, you would earn a monthly annuity. You'd continue to earn creditable years of service towards your normal retirement at 62. You'd have the ability to work in the private sector, and you would also be eligible to continue to carry your federal employee health and life insurance into early retirement. Caleb, can you tell us a little bit more about that monthly annuity that you'd be able to earn?
Sure, Sophie. And disability retirement annuity payments, they're calculated much differently from Social Security disability payments. So your first year receiving disability retirement, you're going to receive 60% of your high three. Then every year after, until you turn 62 years old, you'll receive 40% of your high three. And how OPM calculates your high three average, it's the average of your highest 36 consecutive months of basic pay. So that includes your locality pay and, of course, your base pay. So if you're looking at averaging your 36-month peak of earnings as a federal employee, you take your federal service and, again, you average those 3 years together. Disability retirement is going to pay you based on that rate. Again, 60% for the first year and then 40% every year following. Now here we've put together a very visually appealing chart that explains and demonstrates what your disability retirement annuities will look like moving forward here. So at the far left, you've got a stack of coins that represents your high three average. So this is, again, your peak of earnings as a federal employee. The first year, you can see that big stack of coins, 60% of your high three you'll receive, and then it'll drop to 40%, but that's stable income of 40% of your high three. You'll continue to receive that until you turn age 62. This could be for 10 years, 20 years, regardless of your age at the time of retirement. You'll continue to lock in that 40% rate until you turn 62. And as Sophie said, this time is counted as credible years of service towards your actual retirement. So whenever you turn 62, you'll receive your full retirement as if you were working as a federal employee for that time of service. So let's back up a little bit and talk about qualifying for federal disability retirement and what some of the criteria is. And one of the biggest ones is to demonstrate a service deficiency, which is, in other words, showing that you're less than fully successful in the performance of your federal job. Now, Sophie, how do we go about demonstrating this type of criteria?
So this service deficiency can be demonstrated by a performance, attendance, or conduct deficiency. This we can get documentation from your doctor showing that they understand that you have a deficiency in performance as a result of your medical conditions, but we can also demonstrate this deficiency by getting documentation from your employing agency. That could be a low performance appraisal or a performance improvement plan or a reprimand for something that is related to your medical conditions.
And if there is, like you said, if there's a match between your disability and your service deficiency, that match between the two is what OPM is looking for whenever they evaluate cases. So demonstrating a service deficiency that is, of course, the direct result of your medical disability, that is one of the burdens of proof as an applicant. So now that we've gone through some of the basics of Social Security disability as well as federal disability retirement, let's start to take a look at how these two benefits interact with each other, how they offset, because, as we mentioned before, you can qualify for both. And in fact, in order to qualify for federal disability retirement, you must first apply for Social Security disability benefits. So these benefits share a lot of commonalities here. Now, if you are approved for both, there will be an offset. So what is an offset? So an offset is, simply put, a reduction in a benefit annuity due to receiving other benefits at the same time. In other words, they don't want you to double dip on your disability benefits, so there's going to be a reduction. Not all benefits offset with each other. Sometimes benefits can work together to increase your annuity payments. So, in other words, it might be 2 + 2 = 3, or it might be 2 + 2 = 4, depending on which benefits you qualify for. There may or there may not be a reduction or an offset. So with Social Security disability and federal disability retirement, there is, of course, an offset, an interaction here. So how do we usually calculate that?
So if you are approved for both Social Security disability and federal disability retirement at the same time, then Social Security disability will become your primary benefit. This means that you will continue to receive the full amount of Social Security disability as long as you're eligible to continue this benefit. If you are approved for federal disability retirement while receiving the Social Security disability, for the first year that you are on disability retirement, then your annuity payments from OPM will be offset by 100% of your Social Security disability benefit. So this basically means that your benefit would even out. You would receive the full Social Security benefit and then anything additional that is over 100% of your Social Security disability benefit for that first year on disability retirement. After that first year, your federal disability retirement annuity is reduced by 60% of your Social Security disability benefit instead of the full 100% reduction. So this means that you would end up getting a little bit more money as long as you're eligible to continue both benefits.
So I know at first glance, a lot of this information might be confusing and overwhelming. So we've created an example federal employee here. So Jacob is a model federal employee. He is 47 years old, and his high 3 average is $72,000 a year. A little bit of background information on Jacob. He's an air traffic controller, GS 9, Step 10. It looks like he's got a lot of years then of federal service. He's got 15 years as an air traffic controller. He's married, but him and his spouse have no children. And while he was on a hiking trip, unfortunately, Jacob suffered a traumatic brain injury. And because of this, he's unable to retain his controller clearance. He underwent a surgery, but again, he couldn't return back to full duty. So because of that, the Federal Aviation Administration, they're unable to accommodate for his medical restrictions. So all of that to say, this story about Jacob is one that I see rather often. A lot of air traffic controllers and Postal Service letter carriers and people who work for the VA, for Customs and Border Protection, they all have similar stories and situations where their long-term disabilities prevent them from working. Now, if we're looking at Jacob's calculation for Social Security disability and disability retirement, we've put together this formula. So if you know your high 3 average, you can plug your high 3 into this formula. Again, this is just a rough estimate. This is an example, but for Jacob, we're assuming his Social Security disability payment will be $1,600 a month. Now, if you factor in federal disability retirement annuity, that's $3,600 a month because his high 3 average for the first year is 60% of $72,000. You factor in the offset, and voila, the far right, you see that the year 1 monthly annuity is $3,600 a month. So his sum total is more than Social Security disability. It's in fact equal to his federal disability retirement annuity. But again, his money is coming from multiple different places, multiple different kinds of disability benefits. Then year 2 and every year after, assuming the Social Security payment stays the same, the disability retirement annuity is going to drop to $2,400. But if you look, again, he's receiving a greater sum total from both benefits combined.
Now, it's good to keep in mind that this is just an approximation. However, if you are not able to work at all, it's good to keep in mind that after the first year, you are able to earn a little bit more money than if you were just on the disability retirement if you are applying for both benefits.
That's right, Sophie. And look, these are life-changing benefits that with both Social Security and disability retirement approval, and there's a lot of aspects and monthly income that you stand to gain from this. This could be life-changing financial and medical benefits that you qualify for. So that's why we're here. That's why we have these webinars. We want to be able to answer your questions. So we'll leave the chat open for a while. We'll let you ask away, and hopefully we can answer your questions today. But if not, if you'd like to discuss this more, you can call our office. You can schedule a one-on-one consultation with one of our case evaluators. So we'll go through the facts of your case. We'll talk about your medical disabilities, and we'll help you understand whether or not you can qualify for these federal benefits. And if so, we can help you.
That's right, Caleb. We're here to help. So don't risk your future. Reach out to our office, and we have our experienced legal team on your side that would help take the burden off your shoulders and give you the confidence for your retirement claim.
So let's kind of wrap up here and go through our key points. And again, we will leave the chat open. So if you have questions, you can ask, and you can also contact our office for a consultation. But we talked about how Social Security disability can provide monthly income. You can apply for Social Security online at the Social Security website, or of course by phone or in person. And if you're denied Social Security, you still have appeal options. You have multiple options to submit your request for appeal and get an approval. Now, you could also qualify for disability retirement if you're a federal employee who has a career-ending injury or disability. And these benefits, with both together, they can interact with each other. You can qualify for both and get a greater sum total. So we have to understand, though, again, you can't double dip. So there's going to be an offset whenever you're receiving those disability benefits. And as Sophie said, we are here to help. That's one of our core values as a law firm. So we want to educate and inform people on what their options are and what their benefits would be, and let us know if we can help you in any way.
So everyone, thank you for joining us today. Caleb, it was great to sit down and talk a little bit more with you about this benefit.
Likewise, Sophie, it was great to go through a little bit more detail about Social Security disability and federal disability retirement. So thank you, everyone, for attending our webinar, and we hope to hear from you again real soon. Call our firm, schedule a consultation, and we'll be here to help.
Thanks, guys. I know that was a lot of information to cover, and I know it can be kind of confusing with regards to different benefit interactions, offsets, and what all comes along with it. So if you have more questions, please give our office a call, and you can talk to one of our consultation specialists, and they can help walk you through the entire process. In the meantime, if you have questions regarding Social Security disability itself or other Social Security questions, contact your local Social Security office. You can find out what your local office number is by checking the SSA or the Social Security Administration website online. And don't forget to check out the resource tab on our website to stay up to date on our latest federal content. Again, thank you so much for joining us today, and we'll see you next time.